Ever notice how some people can explain anything, but somehow struggle to enjoy anything? They'll analyze a joke until it's no longer funny. They'll question a compliment until it collapses under logic. They'll sit quietly at a party, not because they're shy, but because their brain is running 12 tabs at once, all arguing with each other. And maybe, as you're watching this, a small part of you is thinking, wow, that sounds uncomfortably familiar. Because being intellectual, being sharp, analytical, observant, sounds like a blessing. And in many ways, it is. But there's a side people don't talk about. A darker side. The kind that doesn't show up on resumes or school transcripts. Let's talk about that. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And you might start recognizing yourself, or someone very close to you.
Talk about this
There's
later.
a type of intellectual who lives inside their head like it's a private universe.
Is this really the best
You'll
way
see them
forward?
staring at nothing. Not bored. Not lost. Just
What if I
thinking.
can't handle the
They
pressure?
replay conversations from 3 years ago. They simulate future arguments that may never happen. They analyze people's tone, pauses, word choices, like every interaction is a puzzle hiding a deeper truth. From the outside, they seem calm, maybe even wise. But inside, it's loud. Psychologically, this happens because high cognitive ability often comes with heightened self-awareness. Your brain doesn't just process information, it interrogates it. Thoughts don't pass by. They stay. They echo. And rest becomes difficult, because your mind treats stillness like a problem to solve. If this is you, you've probably heard. Just relax. As if that's an option. Then there's another kind. The intellectual who struggles to connect. They're in a group conversation, nodding along, smiling at the right moments. But they feel slightly out of sync. Small talk feels pointless. Surface-level jokes feel hollow. And deep down, they're craving meaning, but don't want to sound intense, weird, or too much. So they hold back. They filter themselves constantly. Simplify their thoughts. Hide references. Dumb things down. And over time, that creates distance. Not because they think they're better than others, but because they feel different. Psychologically, this is the cost of cognitive mismatch. When your internal world is complex, fast, layered, everyday interactions can feel slow or shallow. So instead of leaning in, you retreat. You become the quiet one, the observer, the one who understands everyone, but feels understood by no one. And the irony? The more you understand human behavior, the lonelier you can feel inside it. Another type doesn't struggle with silence. They struggle with certainty. These are the intellectuals who can argue every side of an issue. They see nuance everywhere. They understand that most things are complicated, contextual, and rarely black and white. Which sounds admirable, until you realize what it does to decision-making. They hesitate. They overthink. They delay. Because every choice opens 10 more questions. What if I'm wrong? What if there's a better option? What if I don't have enough information yet? Psychologically, this is analysis paralysis, powered by intelligence. Your brain is excellent at predicting outcomes, so it predicts all of them. And action becomes terrifying. Meanwhile, people with less information move faster. They choose, fail, adapt, repeat. And the intellectual watches, wondering why knowing more sometimes leads to doing less. If this is you, you've probably felt stuck. Not because you lack ability, but because you see too much. Then there's a darker variation. The intellectual who turns their mind against themselves. They weaponize logic to invalidate their own feelings. You shouldn't feel sad. Others have it worse. It's irrational to be anxious. This emotion doesn't make sense. So instead of feeling, they analyze. Instead of processing pain, they explain it away. Psychologically, this is emotional suppression disguised as intelligence. You learn that thoughts are safer than feelings. That logic is controllable. That emotions are messy, unpredictable, inconvenient. But emotions don't disappear when ignored. They go underground. They show up as exhaustion, as numbness, as a quiet sense that something is missing, but you can't quite articulate what. The mind stays sharp. The inner world grows cold. And no one sees it, because from the outside, you're fine. But here's the twist. There's one more type. The intellectual who is painfully aware of how little they know. The more they learn, the more uncertain they become. Certainty fades. Confidence softens. They see patterns, yes, but also exceptions. They understand systems, but also their fragility. Psychologically, this aligns with something called intellectual humility. It's not arrogance. It's not insecurity. It's awareness. But awareness has a cost. You stop clinging to simple beliefs. You stop relying on comforting illusions. You see reality more clearly, and clarity isn't always comforting. Sometimes it's heavy. Sometimes it feels isolating. And sometimes, you miss the simplicity of not knowing. Now here's the uncomfortable question. Is intelligence the problem? Or is it how we relate to it? Because being intellectual isn't a flaw. But living only in your mind can disconnect you from your body, your emotions, your instincts, and your relationships. The dark side isn't intelligence itself. It's imbalance. When thinking replaces feeling. When understanding replaces connection. When analysis replaces action. So if you recognized yourself in any of these moments, you're not broken. You're not strange. You're human, with a powerful mind that needs grounding, not suppression. Maybe the real growth isn't becoming less intellectual. Maybe it's learning when to step out of your head and back into life. So ask yourself, which version felt closest to you? Where has your intelligence helped you, and where has it quietly held you back? Sit with that. And if this made you think a little deeper about yourself, or someone you know, you're not alone. Stick around. There's a lot more beneath the surface.